everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Digiday Publishing Summit. I'm Brian Morrissey. I'm the president and the editor-in-chief of Digiday. Welcome here. This is our third time doing a publishing summit in Europe, our second time in Barcelona. How many people have been to one of our events? If I could see a show of hands, we had a good number of people, so good to have you back. Good to have people who have not been to one of our events. So I'm going to do a few things here. I want to walk through, usually our CEO, Nick Fries, who you saw up there, is here, but he was unable to make the trip this time, so I'm going to try to fill in for him with giving an overview of the event. And then I'm going to go into a little bit about the state of publishing as I'm seeing it, with some of the realities and some of the challenges. And then I'm going to actually ask all of you to participate because we have these challenge boards. So while I'm talking, if you can think of the sort of big challenge that you're facing right now, because we're going to ask you to write it down and to post it. So first thing is, have to thank all of our sponsors. They do allow us to bring this to you, and it's important for us to connect people and connect people with companies too. So we've got a ton of great publishers here, and it's going to be a great next few days. We've got tons. I think this is our biggest one in Europe yet, and we have really good representation across the board. So 5 things you should know about DPS. Ultimately, I think that video showed, Digiday at its core is about making change happen. We believe we're in this historic transition from the analog to the digital era, and there's a lot of things that are still in flux. And gathering everyone together is a wonderful opportunity for us to help make change happen. So, it's by connecting people and connect people with ideas and with each other that we think change is going to happen. And the other thing is, we hope over the next 3 days that, you'll get some inspiration. The reason that we do this event in somewhere like Barcelona, and we had just done one in Miami and stuff, other than it gives us an excuse to go to really awesome places, is that it gets people out of their day-to-day, and that's sort of when people end up getting inspired. I know I don't end up getting inspired in the office as much as I do when I'm outside of the office. It's important to be in the office, but it's also important sometimes to disconnect from it and to get inspired. The next thing is, and this is part of that, is making new connections. We like to bring people away from their day-to-day. We don't do events in New York. We do some small events in London, but we try to go to places where people are away from their day-to-day. And that's to help foster people making new connections. That's why the summit's set up is we have sessions during the next few mornings, is to allow people to connect, because we think that's incredibly powerful when it comes to making change happen. And the other thing is about participation. We talk about moving from attendee to participant, and that's why we started off with that town hall, because we wanted to sort of set the expectation that we want everyone to participate, and we're going to offer as many possible ways, whether that's asking questions during the session, whether that's talking during the town halls, or we have set up this Slack channel. You all should have gotten, if you're a publisher, you should have gotten an invite to it. I definitely encourage you to sign up for Slack if you haven't already. But it's going to be a rolling back channel for this event. And it's also going to be a way for, after the event, for the conversations to continue, because we really want to figure out ways that we don't just have these conversations every 6 months, but that we actually build a lasting community that is regularly hashing out these problems. So please do join us in the Slack channel. And lastly, it's the experience. The important thing is to have a great experience. As publishers, I'll get to later, that's incredibly important. We think it's important. That's why we're here in Barcelona. We do not have a mechanical bull, unfortunately, but maybe next time. Okay, so I want to go through some real quick, for me, 5 realities of modern media. And one is probably the most important thing, which is you got to be adaptable. The kinds of things that everyone was discussing in the town hall literally were completely different from the first time we did this event just a year or so ago. And so that just speaks to how the key for all organizations is being able to adapt very, very quickly. Nobody was talking about whether or not to publish directly onto platforms a year ago, and now everyone has to think about it and think about what it means for their businesses. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of traditional organizations struggle, because they have structures that are not built for adaptability. The next thing is, and I'm interested to hear if it's the same in Europe, but definitely in the US, is like we're definitely seeing a bifurcation in the market between very, very big players and very focused players. And what we're seeing is people getting caught in the middle that are struggling, because in today's ad market, you have to have scale, or you have to have such a focus and a valuable audience that you can demand premiums for it. The other one was experience matters. We truly believe that, but I think what we're seeing right now when it comes to this shift, not just from analog to digital, but desktop to mobile, is that the mobile experience really, truly matters. I'll be the first to mention from the stage ad blocking. It's probably going to be mentioned like 80 times. And I think, sometimes it's good to take a step back from it. And, we talked a lot about the rationale for it, and it's going to vary across geographies, but also from different groups. And data privacy is definitely one of them, particularly in markets like Germany. But I think what we're seeing is a lot of people are fed up with the mobile experience, and there's a whole bunch of reasons why publisher mobile experiences are not very good. But the real challenge is publishers are competing with Twitter, with Instagram, with Facebook, with people who are really good at providing good experiences. And publishers have to adopt product mindsets in order to be able to deliver those kind of experiences. The next one is that distribution is nice, but monetization is better. We're going through this period, or I think we're coming to the end of it, where people have recorded unbelievable traffic statistics and aggregated incredibly large audiences. And I think right now it's going to be incumbent is how can those audiences be turned into money. I think a lot of our talk here over the next few days is going to be on the monetization front. Still a lot to be worked out there. And related to that is that ads are necessary but insufficient. Going back to the be big or be focused, advertising right now in a display advertising is really difficult market unless you're gigantic. So we're seeing a lot of people experiment with things like events, with definitely subscription models are big. Commerce might help out, and that's going to be unbelievably important going forward. So with that in mind, here are some challenges that we were thinking of when we were putting together the program. And one is this gigantic problem, which is the supply and demand imbalance. This has plagued sort of the internet from the beginning. And even with stringent viewability standards, the fact remains is there is a tremendous supply of ad inventory compared to the demand for it. And platforms are driving a lot of this. platforms are flooding the market with ad impressions, and that is depressing everything. We're in this period of deflation, I think, across the board. And the other related to that is the platforms are in charge. I think the power between distribution and content always swings back and forth, but we're at a period right now where distribution is really powerful, and platforms right now have that distribution. And so they're going to be increasingly calling a lot of the shots, and I think it's really difficult for publishers to compete in that. And the next, as I said, the mobile experience is a mess. I think it's time publishers sort of own up to the fact that they've sort of made a hash out of mobile. The good news is it's still pretty early, I think, and so that can be remedied, but I think that's a definite challenge. And the fourth one is ad blocking is truly taking off. I think it depends on market to market. I know that for us at Digiday, we started really focusing on covering it because of what we were hearing in Europe and the sort of rates in Scandinavia and Germany. And now with iOS 9, this is truly coming to all markets. And it's going to be a really interesting way to a challenge to take on. Matt O'Neill, who did a great job leading our town hall had said, well, the rates are pretty small, but I thought, Paul Lomax from Dennis had a good retort, is that if you look at the demographics of the people who are ad blocking, they're the demographics of a Facebook, 5 or 6 years ago. So if this is an early adopter behavior, and we're starting to see it get a lot of mainstream traction in the United States, that's going to be a real problem. So I think it's good to get out in front of that challenge. And the other one is we're going to hear a lot about ad tech, but I think one of the things that's become clear at this point is that more ad tech, more problems. I think a lot of the problems going on right now, and it's kind of ironic because ad tech is supposed to solve a lot of these problems, but they're just creating sort of new ones. So I think untangling that is going to be incredibly important, and it's going to be an issue that we're going to talk about repeatedly. So now I want to invite you all to participate. We have a bunch of sticky pads in the back, and I want you to take one of the pens back there and to write down a challenge that you're facing. It could be around viewability, it could be ad blockers, it could be whatever it is. One challenge per sticky note, please. And then if you're a technology provider, I want you to put your challenge on the tech provider's board. And if you're a publisher, put it on the publisher's board. We usually have these very large, fancy magnetic boards and these magnets, but they are somewhere lost in Spain. And so, as I said, adaptability is absolutely crucial. So we have adapted to this very analog format. So I'm going to give you guys like 5 or so minutes. We're going to play the Digiday Challenge Board music. And if you could make your way to the back, write something down. You don't have to sign it. Keep it anonymous. Keep it clean. And then just put it up on one of the boards, depending on what point of view you're coming from. I think we have. Okay, we have our first challenge. Thank you for leading it off. Okay, we've got 2. I don't know what happened to our challenge board music. Eric, what happened to our challenge board music? I should say that the challenge board is very helpful for us because we're going to organize it, and then we're going to see what main themes come out of it, and it's also going to inform a lot of the discussions in the town halls and also in our sessions going forward. So, very important part. Okay. We're going to run out of board. Okay. Okay. Okay, we've got another couple minutes. We still got some space on there. We can cover up even the Digiday logo. It's okay. It's more important to get the challenges up. Okay, last call for challenges. All right, we've got quite a few. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Uh-oh. Could be a sign of the times that we're running out of room on the board for all the challenges. Okay. Okay. I see a couple final challenges coming down the aisle. Okay, thank you very much for that. As I said, we are going to organize it, look for some main themes in there, and then it's going to help inform a lot of the sessions that are going to be coming up. And so that and the town hall are both very helpful in finding out what's top of mind for everyone else.